What's up guys, Dr. Large and we're back with another tier list. So you guys like the last one, so we're going to do it again. Today we're doing the most fun decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master, and you'll see down below we've got a lot more options to pick from, because now I'm not confined to just competitive decks. We have all of the decks that were in the last video, as well as some more. So let's get into it. Starting away with Eldlich, which is instantly going to be an F tier deck for fun. Eldlich, just no fun, set some traps, summon a big, zombie monster, and that's it. No fun to be had. Your opponent's not having fun, you're not having fun, this deck's just not fun. Virtual World. Let's follow this up immediately with what I think is a pretty good A tier deck for fun. Virtual World, you can have a good bit of enjoyment. In a lot of ways, it's very unlinear. You don't have to follow a straight combo. You can kind of just like mess around with the cards you've got and use that and see, you know what, at the end of it, what can I make? Usually True King of all Calamities. And True King of all Calamities is what stops us being an S tier deck. Now thinking about it, there's a good argument for B. However, I think once you take True King of all Calamities out of the equation, this is a really fun deck, so I have to give it A. Sky Striker, I have to give C. No one enjoys playing against this deck, because either you flip Imperial Order and they lose, or you're sitting for 20 minutes waiting for them to activate Engage a bunch of times. Not a fun deck. Playing it, there's a decent amount of fun, which is why I don't put it in F tier. Really, it's down to preference, really. Generally, I would say it's not that much fun compared to a lot of these other decks that are down here, when you've got stuff like Adamantipator, DD, Skull Servants. When you got that in the roster, really not that much fun. Utopia, I'm putting it at A tier. Utopia's got a lot of potential and fun things you can do with it. And when I say Utopia, I mean talking about the Onomatopoeia deck with ZWs as well. Especially when you've got that continuous spell that every time you summon Utopia exceeds number or whatever, you draw a card. Very fun. You can get a structure deck and then you get a few more cards, and then you pretty much got that deck in Master. It's pretty powerful, kind of difficult for new players to stop as well. I quite enjoy it. I think you can take it to a lot of weird places and have a lot of fun with it. There's a lot of cards that are banned now that make this deck ridiculous, but generally quite fun. Alright, then we have Infernity, which is in fact an S tier deck. This deck is one of the most fun decks of all time. It goes ridiculous, it goes bonkers. The only thing stopping this thing being like particularly good is the limited, I believe Archfiend is limited in Master Duel. If I'm wrong, correct me. Launcher is limited, and that kind of really hampers on the deck. But other than that, incredible deck, so much fun. You can go absolutely nuts, but you do break a bit doing it. Your opponent will get bored because eventually you do end up just doing a lot of loops. But you'll have a lot of fun playing this deck. You just have to get lucky with it working. Madolche F tier. Linear combo every single game. You OTK doing the exact same thing. Your opponent gets bored watching it, you get bored doing it. Not a fun deck. Don't play it for fun. Adamantipator S. Completely non-linear deck. There's so many different options, so many different avenues open up. I will give it that it gets pretty monotonous at points. That sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, I've done this a bunch. Can we speed up the games a bit? Your opponent very much going to be asking, can we speed up the game? But generally, I think it's really fun. There's a lot of options. I think it's great. And we follow that up with Spyral, which I'm going to stick in A tier. I would put this in S, if not for the fact of it's long and your opponent's going to get annoyed. Which I know I've just criticized Adamantipator for that, but Adamantipator doesn't have Adamantipator has more variants than Spyral, which has a lot of very linear combos in it. But those combos can be quite fun, especially when you're having to interact with hand traps as well. Sometimes you got to mess around a bit to see, well, I can change this here, here, here. A lot of combo decks don't really have that versatility, which is why I could put it at A tier. But it's not dull enough that I put it at B. Prank-Kids is going to be C. It's the same thing every game. Repeat the same combos, do the same thing. But it's arguably more fun than Madolche, which gets really dull really quickly. And there's also a lot more variants you can do with a Prank-Kids deck list. That's not the same for Madolche. Shadow's an F tier deck. Pure Shadow, that is. Don't play this deck. It's not fun. No one's going to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy playing it. Your opponent's not going to enjoy you play it. Just don't play it. Lyrilusc. I had to put B because I don't know it very well. from what I've seen, it looks pretty standard. It doesn't look very linear. However, the boards are pretty much insta-wins unless your opponent just happens to draw the outs. It's not a matter of they can just play through your board. No, they have to draw the out. That's it. They're done. DD is an S tier deck. This is notoriously one of the most complex decks of all time, and your enjoyment will very much be affected by: have you read the spreadsheet? Are you willing to read the spreadsheet? And do you understand what the cards do? It's very difficult to grasp, but once you got it, yeah, it's a pretty good deck. I've started building this for my mobile account. Absolutely love it. I would recommend it, especially with how cheap it is. Invoked, if there was a tier below F, it would be there. Do you know what? This is going in front of Eldlich. This thing's an offense to humanity. Do not play this deck. Nobody will enjoy it. Phantom Knights, I think I've got to put an A. I know I've got a lot of A tier decks, but Phantom Knights is pretty fun. Actually, no, I'm going to lower it to B because Phantom Knights is also Rongo, and Rongo on its own is F tier. However, when it's put in with what is a very good deck of Phantom Knights, which is a lot of fun, so the non-linear combos, it's level 3 of the deck, I enjoy it. So Rongo has to put her down a B for me. However, other than that, I think it's a solid deck. Skull Servants has to be an S tier for me. I'm really biased on that. This deck isn't fantastic competitively, I can tell you firsthand. However, King and Skull Servants, so much fun. When you can just get this little level 1, 10,000 attack boy, smack for game. Especially when you pair that up with Grass, you pair it up with things like Shadows to just help break through your opponent's board. You use zombies as well, just get more advantage. Great deck, fantastic amounts of fun, love it. Numeron is the antithesis of fun. That's another F tier deck. Don't play this, no one will like you. Drytron, I have to put a B. Drytron is the most hated deck of all time right now, to play against at least, simply because Herald of Ultimateness literally doesn't let you play. And that's kind of a problem in a 2-player game. Simply for Herald of Ultimateness being in this deck, I have to put it a B. It would be unfair of me to put it higher. If Herald of Ultimateness wasn't there, I'd put it A. I enjoy playing the deck somewhat. I'm not very good at that one. I'm not very well versed in Drytron playing. Personally, I don't like Masochism, but you know, I have to put it B. To be fair, it's a pretty good combo deck, but Herald of Ultimateness kills it. Zoodiac. Now, in the last video where I had Zoodiac, I was assuming it was Tri-Brigade Zoodiac. This video, I'm assuming it's just pure Zoodiac, which, for sake of fairness, I'm gonna put in C. There's a very strong argument for F because this is Zeus the deck. However, this is a lot more variance than the F tier decks. There are a lot more options you have open with Zoodiacs. There's also a lot more deck building options you can bring in as well. Especially now that we have one Zeus, you have to put a lot more thought into this deck. I would say generally this is a pretty good deck for C, although if you argue F, I'm not going to blame you. Tri-Brigade, I don't know enough to really put it anywhere. I'm going to say A, B, or C, and because B is the middle, I'm going to stick with B. You know, B is it's a fair place. Tri-Brigade, top deck right now. People probably got sick of playing against it already, and I can't really speak on playing it because I don't. Colossus. Big sus, I'm going to put him in A. Thunder Dragons are a great bit of fun, especially when paired up with Chaos. Especially when you pair that up with Grass as well. Fantastic. But I must say, do be careful. This deck isn't really that cheap. It's also not really that good. Yeah, definitely be careful when playing it because you can very quickly devolve it into Colossus Pass. And that's not fun. That was the worst part of Thunder Dragons in TCG. But if you're just using it as like, you know, you've got Thunder Dragons to combo and you're throwing in a bunch of other stuff to just keep comboing, then yeah, it's pretty good. Subterror is F because I'm not including pure Subterror, I'm talking GERD. Pure Subterror is not even worth considering. Yeah, so pure Subterror, awful, unfun, literally Eldlich 2, but less fun. Now you might be wondering what this one is. This is in reference to Goat format. If you don't understand what Goat format was, that was a format way back in 2005, where it was a mishmash of cards. There were no real archetypes back then. It was a mishmash of cards. You kind of just played whatever worked, what were the best cards. That's what this is. This is the assembly of, like, here's like a bunch of engines that we put together and we've kind of mishmashed them to see what worked. And really, I know this is unfair to rank this because it's such a varied deck, but I'm going to have to say A. If this was the TCG, this would be F, because engines in TCG right now are sadly really good and sadly really fucking annoying. However, I'm going to say generally with the engines we have available in Master Duel, quite like this one. Pretty fun deck. Don't ask me for a deck list, figure it out yourself, honestly. It's not necessarily like a difficult deck to figure out. It's more a matter of how do you choose to figure it out, right? You can throw in things like Wind Witch. If you're a sadist, you can throw in Invoked. I put in Shaddolls. You can put in anything really, anything that you think fits, and you can just mix mash into one deck. Grass S tier has to be S tier. I love grass decks for fun. There's always a good bit of variance. You for a fact, you don't know what you're going to mill off of grass. You can assume, but you don't know for a fact what you're going to mill. My only issue is the mirror match is awful. If you're playing a grass mirror, I feel you. That's an awful one to be dealt with. Yeah, don't deal with grass. I do have a second Phantom Knights. That's my bad, but just ignore that. Dark Magicians. Now, I can't just put these into F tier right now. I actually have to think about these. Dark Magician, I think, is a solid B. Now, why is it in B? Well, and for those of you who are just competitive players, you don't know how Dark Magician plays. Dark Magician is very much a control deck. It's all focused around when you summon Dark Magician, you can do something. For example, Dark Magic Circle banishes a card in the field. Eternal Soul summons it from the hand. There's some new support where if you control Dark Magician or Blue Eyes, you can negate all cards on the field. You can, well, actually, yeah, you can make Dragoon, which is kind of scary. Yeah, Dark Magician, I have to put it B. The control aspect can get very dull, very annoying, but it's not as bad control as like Eldlich. It's what I would call pretty mid-range, I think that's fair to say. Blue Eyes I have to put B as well. I was initially thinking A, because doesn't everyone love just putting out some big beefy monsters and just smacking for games sometimes? But Blue Eyes bricks so much that genuinely I lose fun from it. I find it unenjoyable in a lot of the times. So, honest opinion, it's gotta be B. I can't be A, gotta put it B there. So yeah, that's gonna be the tier list for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Let me know if there's any decks that you would have put in somewhere else, or if there's any decks I missed off entirely. Remember, this is my opinion at the end of the day. I'm not a Master Yu-Gi-Oh player, been playing for like 5 or 6 years now. So you gotta bear in mind, a lot of these decks have been in my time, and a couple of these I haven't played very well, but generally this is my opinion. If you enjoy differently, cool. I will link you the tier list in the description. Have fun with that down there. Go do what you will. I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna be working on a video called How I Became the King of Games, which is me starting from scratch and making my way all the way up to Plat 1. And also check out for diverse Syndicate Yu-Gi-Oh content coming up. We might be cooking up something a little special right now. Diverse Syndicate dipping its hands into Master Duel. Just you guys wait and check it out. But yeah, make sure you subscribe and click a new video on the end screen if you've not checked them out previously.